All right, guys, today we have some incredibly good PlayStation news to go over and talk about. I'm happy to report to you that Sony has officially reversed their decision to close down the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita storefronts. Now, they are going to go through with closing down the PlayStation Portable storefront, but I think all in all, the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita is what most people were concerned about and very unhappy about. And so we have a blog post here where Sony has announced this. And this is, as I said, very good news. It's very reassuring for multiple reasons. Obviously, if you're somebody who was upset at this news that Sony was going to be closing down these storefronts, this is a massive win for you. But this is a massive win for all PlayStation fans, the entire PlayStation community, because it proves that Sony is listening. They are paying attention. And most importantly, they are willing to make the right call, to do the right thing. And I think that everybody can agree that this is the right decision. Now, what's interesting is that this blog post was actually written up by Jim Ryan himself. I think that's also important to pay attention to because we have to understand something here. Ultimately, this was Jim Ryan's decision. I'm sure he had some people talking to him and discussing the reasons why it would be in his best interest to maybe reverse course here. But it's ultimately his decision, and I have to highlight that because there's been a lot of doubt surrounding Jim Ryan as the leader of PlayStation. A lot of people were feeling very concerned, and I think that this goes a very long way in kind of calming people's concerns down and making people realize that while Jim Ryan is a businessman, obviously, he is clearly, at the very least, willing to reverse certain decisions that, you know, the community just isn't happy about. And I think that that is very important. So again, this was written up by Jim Ryan. Let's read what it says. It says, recently we notified PlayStation players, I read that backwards, but players that the store for PS3 and Vita devices was planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. So today I'm happy to say that we will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP Commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd, 2021 as planned. When we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for PS3 and PS Vita, it was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing on. We see now that many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future, so I'm glad we were able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers to enjoy while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of VR. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. We are always listening and appreciate the support from our PlayStation community. So, a lot of really important things to take note of with this write-up. Obviously, this write-up was deliberately trying to convey a couple of things here beyond just the fact that they're keeping the PS3 and PS Vita store alive. First of all, I think it's great that they actually decided to explain the reasoning as to why they made this decision in the first place. And they explain it here by saying, you know, there were some commerce support challenges that maybe when they looked at their data and the numbers, they just thought it's not worth the hassle of going through whatever they need to go through to keep these stores fully functional and operational. But once they saw the pushback, they realized, okay, it's definitely in our best interest to do that. He talks about here how they're going to continue, making this an option for people with PS3 and Vita, but it says for the foreseeable future. That's important wording to pay attention to because, in my opinion, it makes it clear that you're not going to have to worry about like, oh, we're just going to extend it for like 6 months or a year. I think that they're going to keep these storefronts open for many years to come. Now that could change, but that's kind of what I'm getting from this. And, he obviously mentions here their history. This was a big complaint that many people had. The people who were feeling most passionate about this and most upset saying, what about game preservation? What about these games that are just potentially going to be lost forever once these storefronts close, right? And there was also the abruptness of it where Sony's just kind of like, oh, you have like, just a couple months basically to buy all the stuff you may need to buy and prices are skyrocketing and whatnot. And so, they mention here that they're glad they can keep this piece of history alive for gamers to enjoy. Now, again, at the bottom, it says they're always listening and appreciate the support from the community. This is proof that yes, PlayStation is listening to the community. They are aware. So all of the other complaints that people have been making recently, Sony is aware. They are not deaf to it. They are not blind to it. And clearly when they feel it's necessary, they will reverse course. They will make the right decisions. And again, I think this goes a very long way. This is not me attempting to defend Jim Ryan, but I've been saying that I don't necessarily think the whole let's get rid of Jim Ryan and let's fire Jim Ryan. I think that's a little bit premature. And I told you guys, like, I think we need to be a little bit patient, give him a little bit of time. And this is clear proof that Jim Ryan is not a stubborn leader. He will, it seems, make the right decisions when it seems like it's necessary to do so. And I do think this was necessary. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of like playing older games. I have nothing against it. And I think that game preservation is certainly important. I've stressed this multiple times here on the channel, but I also made it clear that this didn't have a big impact on me personally because I had no intention of buying anything on the PS3 or the PlayStation Vita. I had no intentions of interacting with these storefronts, but I felt for those who were upset about this, who were disappointed, because what I learned recently is that there actually is more people than you would think that do care about having access to these storefronts and being able to purchase these games. And while maybe it's not the majority, you know, he does mention that. He says that the majority of people are playing on the PS4 and the PS5 currently. I think we all kind of knew that, but you know, there's something to be said for Sony going out of their way here to be like, you know what, maybe business-wise, it would make more sense to close down the PS3 store and the Vita store. Like from a business standpoint and just a number standpoint, maybe that makes the most sense. But they're willing to forego that, which I think they should, because they're certainly a big enough company to do so, to keep this alive and going for the fans. It may only be like 5 to 10%, maybe even less than that. I don't know. Sony has access to these numbers. It may only be 5 or 10% of PlayStation gamers who are interacting with these storefronts. But Sony said, you know what? We see the backlash. Clearly, people are saying they care. We're going to listen. We're going to do it. And I can't stress enough how big of a win this is for the PlayStation community. For anybody who's been paying attention recently, you know, there's been a lot of negativity, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt surrounding the leadership at PlayStation, surrounding the PlayStation brand in general and the direction it's going in. And a lot of people, you know, are aware that I don't personally have many issues with what's going on. But I got to tell you, even as somebody where this doesn't really impact me that much, I am incredibly happy for those who are now probably feeling a massive amount of relief that Sony's doing this. And I feel really good knowing that PlayStation is willing to listen, that they are willing to hear the community and respond accordingly. This is a very big win for PlayStation fans. And so, you know, we have to sit here and see what else Sony is going to do, because I think that this is honestly the first time Sony's really kind of like, Sony isn't really known to respond in this type of way. They do sometimes, and lately they've been doing it a little bit more, like in the past year or two, but it's very rare that Sony comes out here and basically says, you know what, we messed up, we made a mistake, we're going to reverse this, or we're going to change course. They don't really do that, right? And the fact that they were just so willing to do it, you know, in such a way, and it's just like, yeah, here you go. I mean, this gives me a lot of hope, right? This gives me a lot of hope that they are not, I mean, I never thought PlayStation was becoming complacent, but that's been something that a lot of people have been saying, is that this is just a sign of complacency. They don't care. You know, they're the king of the hill, so they're not afraid to get knocked off. No, I've been telling you guys, I don't think Sony's getting complacent. One of the things Jim Ryan said when he got promoted to the president and CEO of Sony, he said that his energy is going to go into making sure that they don't get complacent. And to me, this is proof of that. All right, so this goes a very long way. I'm not saying everything's perfect now. I'm not saying that, you know, every single problem that people have is now gone and erased. That's not what I'm saying. But this goes a very long way, at the very least, in showing you that they're listening and they will respond when there's enough people getting together to say, look, like, this isn't what we want, you know? So yeah, really good day for PlayStation fans. As I said, massive win for not only those who care about this, but just the entire PlayStation and gaming community as a whole. I think this is something that everybody can look at and say, this is a W. This is good on you, Sony. Thank you. All right. I think we can all agree on that. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this news. Let me know how happy you are about it. Make sure you leave the video a like if you are happy about this news. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.